So, Thaxturd, how are you doing?
I've been better, but I've also been worse.
Well, that's interesting because we've recently learned that you've been a bottom supporter for ages.
Yes, ever since I can remember. I always thought he was the kindest man I ever seen.
At that moment, when you saw Joseph Robinette Biden appear on the telly as the next president, the 46th president of the United States of America, how did that make you feel?
Oh, I was so delighted. I told my husband, there's that kind man who always looks like he'd give you the t-shirt off of his back.
And was he kinder than 45, in your opinion?
Oh, he was so much kinder. Even his name is kinder.
What's so kind about his name?
I mean, like Trump sounds so violent. Like I'm gonna trump you. But Biden, it's so like, let me buy you dinner. He just wants to buy you things. You know, that's what I think of when I think of Biden. So kind.
Speaking of buying things, I do know that you lived a number of years in poverty.
Yes.
We're all really well aware of that, the people that know you.
Well, it was more of a vow of poverty. I
So,
vowed to never get a job. And I kept to my vow.
So, as a voter in this country, has Biden done anything for you?
He has pardoned my student loans, or he would have if I had any. It's nice to know that he would have pardoned me.
Well, it's just the fact that you bring up how you've been out of employment for a good period of your life.
I know, and I owe that to Biden too.
so you're saying that he definitely benefited you in that regard.
He came to me in a dream and said, I don't work for a living, why should you? I was so happy that he took the trouble to appear in my dream.
So, not too long ago, in fact, during the 4th of July weekend, there came out this huge bombshell news report where cocaine was found in the White House.
Yes.
What do you think of this report?
Oh, I'm sure some Trump supporter put it there.
Well, this is a very dubious thing to have transpired.
You shouldn't fall for those tricks that Trump does. He'd do anything to make Biden look bad.
So you don't believe that this cocaine in any shape or form belonged to Biden or anyone in relation to
If
him?
it was for medicinal purposes only.
I think you're thinking of weed.
Yeah, I mean...
We're talking about cocaine.
I mean,
here.
Some people need cocaine to keep their circulation in good, keep it going, or to something like that. I'm sure there's a good reason for it being there.
Well, I bring this up because I think the general consensus is that most people don't believe that this cocaine actually belonged to Joseph Robinette Biden. I think they believe that it belonged to his son, Hunter.
Hunter? That could be. I mean, I'm sure his entertainment budget is enormous.
And what does that have to do with anything?
Well, he used to entertain his guests, you need to provide them with drugs and women and other things. so you can get their business.
Do you believe that this is why there are so many allegations regarding his businesses in foreign places like Ukraine?
I never been to the Alleghenies.
Allegations.
Biden, he might have. I think Hunter climbed the Smoky Mountains once, but I don't think he ever took the Alleghenies. That's pretty far north.
If anything, I think that you climbed up the Smoky Mountains.
Okay, well you're welcome to your conspiracy theories.
Well, I'm just pointing out the facts here. I hope that you're sober enough to realize that the dictionary terms for allegations is not a place.
Yeah, I think that's how they got Nixon. But that was a terrible thing. But I don't know why they keep persecuting Hunter. They plant cocaine in his room. They probably bug his telephone. It's a shame.
Well, let me ask you this. You seem like you're a fan of Hunter as well as his father.
Well, of course. I mean, you love the father, of course you're going to love the son. If you're a family oriented.
Do you love his son's
like
daughter?
If he had one, yeah.
Apparently, Hunter has a daughter with a stripper. And according to reports, Joseph Robinette Biden reportedly has a 7th granddaughter that he is allegedly refusing to acknowledge publicly. So much for family, huh?
Well, you can't blame them. I mean, you don't want to let trash into your family. If this was a stripper's daughter, would you want that?
But it's also Hunter's daughter, Thax.
Yeah, but men get randy and stuff like that. You can't blame the man in these cases. It was up to the stripper to protect herself. If she wanted to have this illegal...
But the child is innocent. Like, it is a byproduct of this relationship, regardless of whose fault.
No, I think that child is cursed. So hopefully it'll die of, many young children get cancer. Hopefully this will mercifully happen to her. We'll see. But I mean, that's no reason for a very busy man like Biden to acknowledge her. That's my view on the subject.
And from that statement, I assume that you believe in double standards.
That's a controversial statement to make, but
I'm just assuming that based on what you're telling me right now.
If you mean double standards, that I have twice the standards of anyone else, yes, I have double standards. Triple standards. I got more standards than most.
Well, I'm glad that you believe that for yourself.
Yes.
So,
I believe in myself.
knowing that you have apparently been a supporter of Biden since the Obama ages.
Oh, yes.
Because I know that you once told my reporters that you voted for him during his presidential run in 2008. Did you vote for him because Biden was also on a ticket as his running mate?
That's the main reason. I think he should have been the president and Obama the vice president, but that's just me.
Oh, so you think it should have been a switcheroo between the two?
Yeah.
And knowing the fact that at that moment, when Barack Hussein Obama eventually became the 44th President of the United States of America, whereas Joseph Robinette Biden became the Vice President, how did you react to that?
I thought, well, you cut your losses. I thought it was better than nothing. At least he was in the White House. Maybe he could catch Obama's ear every now and then and give him a good word.
And did he ever do that?
I wish I knew. You know, when
But I
Biden-
thought you were such a big fan
I
of
am, but,
Biden.
You know, he only appeared in that one dream. I wish, you know, I'm making an appeal. If you want to appear to me in any more dreams, Josephine, you come to me and I will listen. I'll drop anything else I'm dreaming and listen only to you. Because I'd like to know the answer to some of these questions.
Well, we'd like to know who this Josephine you're referring to is.
That's just a pet name some of us have for him. Nothing too elaborate.
So there's been this other video that has been circulating the internet where Biden has been given this graduation speech or commencement speech or some type of speech at what appears to be a military, naval, Air Force base or some wartime academy or something like that. I mean, anyway, that's not important. The important thing is that after he gave the speech, he was leaving the stage and he fell like face planted on the floor. Does that concern you?
No, he does that to make people realize he's human. It's sort of like Charlie Chaplin, you know. He wants to make us laugh and realize we're all human.
So you're saying that you're glad that he fell?
Well, I'm sure there was a soft spot on the floor. If it was pre-planned, there must have been a soft spot where his face would be.
Well, if we look back at the footage of it all, like, there is a shot where after he fell, he was helped up by whoever was around him, and he was pointing back at the stage, like pointing at a ledge or something that was sticking out that he did not see.
Well, it's all part of the act, you know, I mean.
So you're saying that he did this deliberately?
Of course, otherwise he would be weak, and that's impossible.
How is that impossible? I mean, he looks like he's almost as old as you.
78 years young. There's no way he would have fallen out of personal weakness. He's not a weak man.
Well, also, a lot of people, including 45, Mr. Donald J. Trump, has gone on stage to comment about Joseph Robinette Biden's disastrous withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan. Like, so many of them have called it a moment of weakness.
Yeah, but those are the troops that are weak, not Biden.
But it was him in command, you know, as president.
Well, see, that just it. He's in command. How can you call him weak if he was in command?
Because his command was what led to
The less than stellar exit.
Be logical. One minute you're saying he's weak, the other minute you say he's in command. You know, at least.
Well, wait, he was put in command because the American public frankly expects him to make calculated and informed strategic decisions to effectively pull troops out of the region. And instead, what we got, according to a lot of people on the right, and 45 himself, was a very botched exit that was frankly an embarrassment to this country.
Well, Trump's not the president, is he?
I think he believes that he should have been.
Yeah, well, I wish I was a bunny.
Speaking about that, you know, a lot of people on the other side have been very vocal about the election being stolen. In fact, many of them believe that the election of 2020 was stolen.
That's true. I guess it should have been Sanders or Warren.
Oh, so
But
you're saying that they should have been the Democratic nominee instead of Biden?
probably. But like I said, Biden, he's old. Give him his chance. And if he's as bad as you say, then we can bring in Warren or Sanders, and we'll see what's up.
Well, I mean, according to a lot of people that I've been hearing from lately who's spoken to me,
It seems like he's doing a pretty deplorable job.
Oh, well,
We've had record inflation like nobody has ever seen ever since he took office.
well, if you want to nitpick, you know, I mean, do you really want $2 gas?
I mean,
What with climate change and all,
I'm okay. Listen, I'm okay with $2 gas based on the gas prices that I'm seeing right now.
So you're okay with climate change and us burning up the planet, just so your pal Trump could be president? That just doesn't. Seem right to me.
I didn't say that. Okay, I'm just speaking specifically on gas prices, which you actually might happen to know a lot about, considering you travel quite a lot.
Well, I do, but that's my personal business. It's not your concern where I travel.
But it doesn't matter because you need gas to travel, Thaxturd.
Yeah, that's true, but
So it does involve you,
yeah.
regardless if it's personal business or public business.
Okay, gas prices are a little higher, but I don't mind paying my share. If it'll help Biden do his job, I'm willing to pay a little more.
And lastly, what about the border?
I mean, like, according to my friends down south, in places like Texas, there are people pouring in across the border in numbers like nobody has ever seen. And many of these people who are pouring in, we know nothing about.
Well,
So we don't know if they're criminals or if they're, drug addicts or, drug dealers or...
listen, Colonel Parker was an immigrant, and if there was no Colonel Parker, there would have not been an Elvis.
Well,
Are
the
you
question
saying-
is whether or not he was a legal immigrant or not, because I'm sure you understand that there's a legal way to become an immigrant.
So, well, legal, illegal, we can sit here and nitpick all night, but, it just seems to me like you're trying to be negative for no good reason.
I'm just telling you what has been circulating in the media and what my friends have been telling me.
I just don't believe in these conspiracy theories, that's all. I mean, let the man do his job. He's only been in office 3 years. Give him time to do what he's got to do.
I think that people are giving him time. I mean, as you mentioned, he's been in office for 3 years now. The real question is whether or not he's done anything in the past 3
Well,
years.
How can he, with all these Trump supporters tripping him up and making him fall and so on and so forth and calling him weak? How do you expect him to do his job if people keep nitpicking and criticizing him? Land's sakes, stop being so negative.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you, Thaxturd Elliott Douglas III, for sharing your opinions as a Biden supporter.
It's not opinions, it's the truth. Come on.
Well, it's your truth,
Well,
as far as we know.
look in the mirror and you'll see your truth. That's all I gotta say.
Good night. Best of luck to you.
Good night, all. Good night, America. Biden 24. That's all I gotta say. Let him finish what he started.